We are speaking with Professor Ayal Kimhi, Vice President of the Shorish Institution and a Professor of Agricultural Economics at the Hebrew University. So first of all, what exactly did the OECD data show?
The data show that the fraction of Israelis holding academic degrees in younger ages are not increasing as fast as in other developed countries. And let me answer your next question immediately by saying, I don't think this is very important, because we're talking about the quantity of academic degrees, and I think the most important thing is the quality of academic degrees.
Okay, what do you mean by that? Why is the quality not good enough in your opinion?
Because higher education has expanded in Israel, especially since the 1990s with the establishment of the regional colleges. And many of these programs actually offer degrees that are not really quality-oriented. It's more quantity-oriented. People are getting in to get a degree, and they don't get much in it. Some of these degrees don't even worth the paper they're written on. And the question is, what is the worth of these degrees? And if the worth is not high, then why should people approach them? So if you think about more macroeconomic issues in Israel, like labor productivity, which is quite low compared to other developed countries. And if you look at adult qualification tests in which Israelis are doing really poorly, including Israelis with academic degrees, then there's something wrong in the higher education system. And just counting the number of people going through the system is not the important thing. The important thing is what the system is doing to these people, what kind of qualifications they obtain during their studies, what kind of benefits they get out of this in the labor force. That's the important issue. And in those areas, we are doing much worse than in terms of quantity.
Is this because the subject matter being taught is the wrong one, or is it because the quality of the teaching is not high enough?
It's really a combination of many, many different elements here. It actually starts in school. It starts even well before people reach higher education. If you look at school systems, the quality of education in many, many schools are really bad. If you look at the scores of Israeli students in international exams, in a PISA exam, for example, they're doing much worse than most developed countries, and this is not just a recent result. It's going through decades. So even students who do want to pursue an academic degree, they came with much worse background, and as much as universities can do is try to improve, but the starting conditions are really poor. And of course, there are some degree programs in some institutions that are not doing a really good job. And people can go there and get an academic degree, but if you look then at what they achieve in the labor market, they're not doing much better than anybody else without an academic degree.
I'm sure you've heard Israeli teenagers or people when they finish the army argue that they don't want to go to university. They don't see the point of getting a degree, particularly if they can get a good job, say, in high tech. Why bother wasting 3 years at university? What would you say to them?
I think, I talked about this a lot with people from the high-tech industry, and they say this is really an exaggeration. There is the number of people that can reach a good position in the high-tech sector that do not have academic degrees is really small. So some people, from top units in the military that deal with cyber and stuff like that, maybe they can do without an academic degree. Most people do get an academic degree, even if they had this prior experience in the military. Now, when you finish the military, especially in those recent years in which people spend so much time in combat, perhaps fewer people are really considering going into school. But this is, I hope it is a short-term phenomenon, and I think higher education is really important. Of course, not for 100% of the population. Not everybody is likely to pursue an academic degree, but it is important, and it will become even more important in the future, I think.
Okay, you've outlined the problem as you see it. What would be the long-term ramifications for Israel if this trend continues, in your opinion?
Again, the trend about the quantity of academic degrees is not really bothering me. It's really the quality, and I think we're doing quite poorly on that. And I think this requires, at least from the next government, to take radical steps to improve the education system, starting from preschool, starting from early childhood education, going to elementary schools and matriculation exams and core curriculum for everybody. You know, we haven't mentioned that, but we're talking about the ultra-Orthodox population who are expanding as a fraction of the population. Then they don't go to higher education. At least they don't go in large numbers. So this statistical fact is in itself reducing the number or the fraction of people with academic degrees. So you have to, and there are gaps, the gaps throughout the economy in the quality of schooling and etc. So,
but we hear reports that school principals cannot attract teachers. Partly because of low wages, and therefore they lower the standards. And many of the teachers today that are hired do not have university degrees, do not have adequate academic backgrounds.
I agree. I think this is a big problem. One of the main challenges of the education system is to attract better teachers. And it's not only wage; it's also school atmosphere. This is really a basic problem of Israeli society, that there's no respect for authority, and teachers come to class and they have to spend 80% of the time with the disciplinary issues. Not mentioning then they have to argue with the parents of these kids who don't even understand what the teachers want from their kids. So yes, this is one of the ways that the education system has to improve, is to attract better teachers.
From what you've seen, and I know politics is not your specialty, but from what you've seen, are any of the parties standing in this election putting forward ideas focusing on education and possible solutions to the problems you've outlined?
Well, I heard at least one candidate specifying explicitly that the solution is simply to disentangle the education system and to rebuild the education system from scratch. Now, this is a good. Actually, I tend to agree with this idea. But
was that Naftali Bennett?
Yes. I didn't want to get into politics, but yes, I heard him say that. So he's publicly proposing to change the education system. What exactly, if he does have a specific plan how to do it, I'm not sure. But at least yes, admitting that this is one of the main problems of Israeli economy and society is a good step forward.